All right, so let's get more for you on that particular ECOWAS summit to be hosted by President John Dramani Mahama. Joining me in the studio right now is Head of Communications and Spokesperson at the Presidency, Ben Dotse Malor. Ben, nice to have you on Newsline this evening. Run by me the details of this particular 45th ordinary session of this meeting.
First of all, by Wednesday evening, we are expecting all the heads of state to start arriving. And then on Thursday, the 10th, we should be having the plenary or the opening ceremony, whereby we will have President John Dramani Mahama as the chair of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State speaking. We will also have a presentation from the head of the ECOWAS Commission, right, Mr. Desire Kadre-Ouedraogo. Also, I see there that they are planning to have the chair of the African Union Commission, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, also there. So that will be the main thing. And then we'll have the closing ceremony on Friday. In between, we should have a press conference, and they'll be discussing all these key issues that are of interest to the sub-region.
Have you had a confirmation of the names and kind of leaders that are expected for this meeting Thursday, Friday?
Not immediately, but all the 15 member states of ECOWAS are expected to be there. Also, I think in your report you mentioned about Beck's recap, is the fact that presidents of 3 nations that are bordering ECOWAS, Cameroon, Mauritania, Chad. If you know the Boko Haram thing, it's more or less a cross-border issue that must also be considered, and the presidents of Chad and Cameroon have also been invited, and the president of Mauritania is also expected, together with the United Nations Secretary General or his representative will also be there, and then 1 or 2 former heads of state also expected to join the leaders.
Among some of the key issues that are expected to be tabled for discussion, we're talking about the ECOWAS biometric ID cards. We're talking about security as well in northern Mali, Nigeria. The Ebola virus also high on the agenda, particularly on the unrest in Nigeria and northern Mali. The last time there was a meeting in Accra on that same issue. What difference will this discussion really yield towards finding solutions to those particularly trouble spots within the sub-region?
The last meeting was an emergency one called by President Mahama in that capacity as chair of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State. So these issues were on the table. Maybe it's a good time for us to get an update from the leaders in Mali, the leader, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan of Nigeria, telling us what he and his government have been doing about these issues that are here. So yeah, those are some of the things.
Okay, so the last time there was an emergency meeting here in Accra, it was huge outcry from the public and the motoring public, especially because they were not told exactly what to do. What's the plan this time round for Thursday and Friday? You even talked about Wednesday as well.
Let me put it in a number of terms. Number one, first of all, it was regrettable what happened last time, and we are deeply, deeply sorry. Number two, because of that, strongly, I believe lessons have been learned. And number 3, over the next couple of days, we should all expect from the Inspector General of Police, Alhaji Mohammed Al-Hassan and his team, giving us details about plans they are laying out so that whilst the summit is going on and we expect a successful summit, we can also have the traffic situation in Accra managed in a way that will not be disruptive or inconvenient to the residents of Accra, particularly around the Movenpick Hotel area.
Okay, so finally, before you go, I mean, the talk always has been that African heads of state gather on the table and talk about issues. At the end of the day, you don't necessarily find a major improvement in the issues that were tabled for discussion. How different will this meeting or talk be? What should we expect at the end of the meeting?
I think we should all applaud the fact that we have an ECOWAS structure that is viable, that is meeting, that is active and not dormant. I think we cannot take that for granted. And we should look back and see instances where having ECOWAS has helped greatly in dealing with crises in our region. For example, when conflict and war broke out in Liberia, we had Ghanaian soldiers joining the Nigerian brothers and sisters, Senegalese brothers and sisters, to go there and stop the conflict and help restore stability there. Sierra Leone, a similar thing. Just right now, we've had successful elections in Guinea-Bissau. President Mahama, as ECOWAS chair, visited the place before the elections. After the elections, we've now had a newly elected president who's been inaugurated, and President Mahama was there in his role as ECOWAS chairman. So let's look at these things positively. Yes, a lot more can be done, and it's going to take a lot of resources, a lot of planning, a lot of wisdom.
All right, so many thanks to you. I appreciate your time with me this evening. And that's Ben Dotse Malor, his head of communications and also presidential spokesperson at the seat of government. It's the two-day, that's the mid-year ECOWAS Economic Summit that will consider a report on the community's main activities on Thursday, on Friday here in Accra, to be hosted by President of the Republic of Ghana, John Mahama, and also in his capacity as ECOWAS chairman, he will host that particular event. Meanwhile, we do understand that police commanders will tomorrow, that's the 8th of July 2014, visit some of the major roads that will lead to this particular, the venue for this particular conference, to find a way of ameliorating really the huge traffic that was experienced early on at the emergency meeting called by President John Mahama. This is Newsnight. More stories with Kesawa.